Aloha and shalom, everybody. We are here for the final quarter activation. Welcome back to those of you who have been watching these activations for years, every week. And for those of you who are here for the first time, aloha, welcome. Thanks for being here. So this is not just, a reading. It's a collective activation where we just receive an inspirational message for the week. And because this is the final quarter, it's the end of this monthly cycle that we're all experiencing. So we had the full moon last week, and now we have the final quarter. The full moon was all about receiving the fullness of the picture, and the final quarter is about really wrapping it up, finishing up the integration of that information, and preparing for the new moon that's ahead, preparing for the new beginning ahead. So the final quarter is sort of the in-between week. We just had the full moon, then we're gonna have the new moon. So we're closing up one cycle and beginning another. I'm broadcasting from the lovely Sedona, Arizona. Last activation, I was in a grassy field on the East Coast. So for those of you who saw that, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. But now I'm back in the land of the Red Rocks. Feeling good. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you? And for those of you who are new to the videos, I just want to make a suggestion. As people comment with the place that they are tuning in from, you can kind of see in your mind's eye the world from outer space. And you can see those parts of the globe lighting up. So we're creating a grid of light. UK is in the house. Canada, Ontario, Canada is in the house. Where else? And while you're commenting, I'm going to take out my cards and start to shuffle. And remember that each of the cards represent a different archetype, a different piece of wisdom, a different angle of perspective of both the collective and individual mind. New Orleans in the house, Kansas in the house, Wisconsin in the house. So as we're shuffling these different pieces of wisdom, we're touching each one of them. We're saying hello. So we're lighting up each part of the mind, each part of the brain. Sweden in the house, Missouri in the house, Holland in the house, Cottonwood AZ in the house. So we're just waking up every part of the one right now while we shuffle. Tucson in the house. We've got lots of Arizona in the house tonight. Hey, today, I should say. It's daytime here in AZ right now. So I'm just keeping in mind as I'm touching all of these cards, waking them all up and bringing us into our fullest presence. I'm keeping in mind the goal and intention of receiving a message today that's going to help us integrate everything that we've just been through this month, because so much happens in 1 month. North Carolina in the house, Houston, Texas in the house. So we're just already beginning to give thanks, giving thanks in advance. Gratitude in advance for this message that's going to come through. Then I'm going to go ahead and pull out the Hebrew cards from the magic chest. And they look like this, they look like this. And remember, it's going to be flipped because we're on a camera here. London in the house. So the Hebrew cards work the same way. They each represent a different part of the mind, different part of consciousness, and we're just shuffling them up, saying hello. If you want to know more about how the Hebrew works in tandem with the tarot, I integrate that into my teaching in my book, Royal Path 1, Activating the Archetypal Alliance Within. And then, of course, there's book 2, which goes more into the manipulations, the elemental suits, minor arcanum, all that. Gives you kind of a tarot guide if you like to do tarot for yourself. I know a lot of you are really into the Hebrew, so if so, you want to check out my book. Ireland in the house. All right, and again, just giving thanks in advance for this message that's about to come through. And when I say giving thanks, it's like, who are we giving thanks to? The one which is in each one of us. I'm thanking you I'm thanking me, I'm thanking we, I'm thanking the one. I'm thanking the archetypes that are all parts of that one, of which we are all a part. Okay, beginning with the tarot deck, we're gonna ask the usual question because it's so important. What is the focus right now at this time of the final quarter moon when we're just wrapping things up? What is the number one focus in the form of an archetype? And this focus will also be the challenge and gift. It's our focus, so it's going to be something that keeps coming up for us, challenging us, and hopefully we succeed through each of those challenges and transform it into a gift each time that we do. So giving thanks in advance for this focus of the week, however challenging, knowing it's a blessing. And then with the Hebrew cards, we will, as usual, pull an ally for the week. So the challenge of the week is, Carrie, if you're watching this, I know you're laughing. So this is the Hierophant, been coming up a lot, so I'm not surprised at all to see his face show up. And someone here in the comments saying self-mastery. True. And each of the cards are a different aspect of self that we're continuously, in a never-ending way, mastering, you know. But the Hierophant being the challenge right now, we're being challenged to activate this archetype to a deeper degree. And we all have this archetype within us. First of all, it's a man, so it's speaking to our masculine nature. So it's going to be about our active nature. So we're going to talk about what the archetype is, but then understand that it's about putting it into action. It's not just about being it. You are it already, but it's about putting it into action, materializing it. And what it is that energy of the inner teacher, the inner guru, the heart's truth. Putting that into action. Whereas the high priestess is the esoteric, the Hierophant is the exoteric. It's sort of like the masculine complement to that card. Although they all complement each other. Okay, so if this is the challenge of the week, what might that look like in wrapping things up? Because we're considering not only is it the focus right now, it's the focus at a time where we're closing one cycle and beginning another. So what that could look like is we're being called to not just dismiss information as old or new, but to not discriminate, saying, oh, that's old information or that's new information. Just looking at things for what they really are. Seeing the truth beyond the manipulations. Seeing the truth as it really is. How can we do that? How can we not just shun this information or that information? How can we be open to the whole picture? Have you developed your heart's compass? Because that's really what this card represents, is the heart's compass. Have you developed that to the point of being able to see the truth back of all things, because it is always there, here, now? So if you find yourself dismissing information, it could look like, for example, my way is the right way, or your way is the wrong way, doing things like this. You're being the negative Hierophant. The positive Hierophant is benevolent, open-minded, is unafraid to receive information because he knows that he doesn't have to accept it as his ultimate truth, because he already has an acceptance, a deep acceptance of what the ultimate eternal truth is and the laws that go with that eternal truth. He knows what that is. So if you know what that is within you, why would you ever feel like you had to over-defend something, or you had to neglect this piece of information or that, or completely reject this information or that? You wouldn't feel such a charge to have to do that, because you would be so solid in your own knowing and in your own truth that you wouldn't have to behave that way. So signs that it's very challenging for you to embody this archetype right now is when you are resisting information, new or old, or when you feel the need to defend your way, or when you feel the need to shoot someone down about their way. There's only one way. So how can we see that way behind all ways? Always. See what else comes up for this guy. let's talk about the cards before and after so that we see where we're at right now, because tarot is a sequence. So this is card 5. It's a major arcanum card. It's a very powerful card. What are major arcanum cards 4 and 6? 4 is the Emperor, otherwise known as the Sovereign. Okay? 4 is all about realization, realizing your own self, realizing your own sovereignty. 4, form, getting comfortable in your form, getting comfortable with who you are, creating a method to sustain that form. Okay, so once you have that solidified, you know you're a sovereign being, you come to 5, where you can be a representation of that, where you can really walk your talk, and where you can be a model and inspiration for others to receive those realizations or those teachings. So 4 is when you get it together for yourself. 4, stability, grounding, you get it together for yourself. 5 is when you share that. That's why it's a man, because it's showing expression, activity, acting on all that you've just cultivated. Okay, so then you come to this point where you become a beacon of all those teachings and realizations. And then after you solidify that phase, number 5, you come to 6. It's known as the Lovers, aka the 2 paths. So that card is all about, despite its modern name of the Lovers, that's just a metaphor, it's really about a crossroads. It's about that polarity and the 2 paths. It's a decision-making point, a choice point. So with this card before that one, it's showing you we got to really get right with our truth. Be a shining example of that truth, the truth that is within our hearts. It is attuning your heart's compass so that when you come to that 6, inevitably, you know which way to go at the 2 paths. You know which road to take because you truly know that they are one, that there's only one path, the royal path. But you'll have developed your heart's compass to such an extent that you'll know without hesitation even to go this way or that. Because to you in that moment, it won't be about the illusion of separation and this path is different from this one. It will be about your one path and holding true and strong to that path that you know you're on spiritually. So that when you come to that very physical or material crossroads, you know which way to go because you're basing the answer to that question on your spiritual trajectory. So if this is the challenge right now, it's saying, get right with your truth. Don't spend so much time denying someone else, even though they're you, there's only one, someone else's truth, that you forget what your own is. Do everything you can do to eliminate distractions right now. Eliminate the BS and all the extraneous activity that's going on in your mind and that's going on in your reality. Do your best to eliminate that extra noise so that you can get clear, so that you can become still, which is that place you need to come to get back in touch with your center, your truth, the truth that is within your heart, our one heart. It is one truth. It is eternal, it is timeless, it is multidimensionally applicable. So when you can brush off all the other stuff and get back to the elementary space of truth that's within your heart, that foundational space of truth, then everything else will fall into place. You won't need to be defending your truth so much. Truth defends itself. Truth is light, it's love, it's eternal. It will defend itself. If you find yourself having to go out of your way to defend that truth, chances are you're moving out of virtue and into vice, out of trust and into nervousness, fear. And then how are you defending the truth when you're becoming an exact opposite embodiment of truth itself? That was what last week's activation was about. So this is a continuation. Life is a sequence, cycles. Okay, so right now we're being challenged because inevitably we're going to face a crossroads. Whether that's tomorrow or next week, it doesn't matter. We're always inevitably in life going to face a crossroads. So the work that we do right now is going to forever be applicable. So what the cards are saying is assume you're going to come to card 6 soon. It's inevitable. All these cards are actually always present. So the work that you do with them is always applicable, okay? So assume that you're going to come to a choice point soon. Every moment we're making choices. So this is very relative work here. Assume you're going to come to that 6, the lovers, the 2 paths point very soon. What would you want to do now in preparation, knowing that that's coming? Because it is. Because it is. What would you want to do then? You would want to prepare yourself for that crossroads. But it's not about preparing like, I got to go to a fortune teller and know all the details of what's about to unfold so that I can be prepared in that way. No, no one's ever prepared. The details aren't even written. We are writing the script each moment with our choices, right? So that would be silly and impossible and ridiculous. So we're not trying to prepare in that way. The real way to prepare for an inevitable choice point is to get in touch with your heart's truth, that truth that is back of all things, because that is the truth that will always light your way, will always guide your way. If you have that, you have everything, because anything else that you think you need doesn't compare to that connection to eternal truth. It will guide you well beyond this body, this lifetime, this world. So there's nothing, there's not a more worthy pursuit than that of getting back in touch with your center, your truth, which is our one truth, which is our one heart. So that's what we're being called to do right now. Expect a challenge to come soon. And I'm not saying, be worried about it, challenge out, and then you're going to start creating some, negativity. What I'm saying is we always have challenges in life. Every day we face challenges, big and small, and an even better word than challenge is really choice. Okay, because card 6 represents both challenge and choice. They are one because every choice can be a challenge. And there's also temptation involved with choice. Often there's temptation involved, which is why on the Lovers card you see like the whole Genesis, Adam and Eve picture on there. So if challenge and temptation comes with choices, we should be prepared for that, right? And again, how do you prepare to be faced with temptation and challenge? You make your heart's compass strong and attuned so that whatever choice you have to make, big or small, no temptation could misguide you or distract you. No temptation. No confusion. So how do you get to that place of being able to defy all temptation? How do you get to that place of being so strong that you don't give in? That you don't give in to the fear or the confusion or the doubt or the temptation? How do you get to that? With this is the answer. It's the Hierophant. It's the heart's compass. Okay? And look at him. It's like you could look at him. He got the acolytes at his feet. He could look like, oh, this self-centered guy thinks he knows everything and is just teaching. And yeah, that's the negative and darker side of the Hierophant that we fall into when we gain knowledge and then we use it to control. Then we're actually cut off from that source of wisdom. And then everything starts to fall apart before we can even realize it, just to get our attention. Or we can see the Hierophant from a more developed and conscious perspective, the positive Hierophant who really knows the truth in his or her heart and can happily be an instrument of that, can be a representation of that, can be an example of that for others in a way that is benevolent and righteous and true. And that's the Hierophant we want to get to. And it's within all of us. But we need to always stay in check. We need to always remain present so that we can make sure that our archetypes are in check and that they're shining on the right end of the spectrum. So again, how do we prepare for decisions, for crossroads in life? By just making sure we get rid of all the stuff that's in the way of seeing that fundamental truth, that universal truth. Because all of the answers we could ever seek are contained within that foundation that lies within the heart. Any question you could ever have in any lifetime about anything material in this world can be answered when you tune into that space. The laws and the commandments that are naturally born in that space answer everything. But we think that we need this or we need that or we need to do this teaching or whatever to get those answers, but it's all within us. So the real work is in getting rid of all that extraneous stuff, getting rid of the layers, getting rid of the fear, getting rid of the programs that have been built up as, manifested as walls in between us and our heart, or in between us and the truth, or between us and another us, because we're all one. So work on getting rid of those walls. And the truth is there. You don't need to find it. It's inside of you. Okay, so we all can agree, right, that making a choice is inevitable. We make a choice each moment to breathe, stay alive. And we're faced with choices big and small all the time. How you respond to one thing is how you respond to everything. So right now, we are being given an opportunity to fine-tune how we respond to crossroads, how we respond to those points of decision making. So know this, the work that you do now in this area will go with you forever, beyond this life. Because the work that you do to cultivate this archetypal response, this response to decisions, is going to be with you forever. It's light. It goes on forever. It's light that you are cultivating. It goes beyond this life. So know this and let it inspire you to do your greatest work right here, right now. Tune into your heart and make that your priority is tuning your heart's compass so that whatever decision point you come to in life, you will know which way to go. No temptation can distract you. No fears can make you stumble. No doubts could make you hesitate. Because remember, indecision above all else is worse than a bad choice. That's one of my favorite quotes ever. We sit here thinking, I don't want to make the wrong decision. Fear. Or, which decision should I make? Doubt. So we either end up manifesting, taking a much more challenging path, which we didn't want in the first place, or we manifest fence sitting, which is even worse because then you just take forever and you're just stewing with all these things in your own mind and you don't even make the bad decision so that you can then get over it and learn a lesson. Because remember, mistakes are just blessings in hindsight. They're just lessons. So you don't want to fence sit and you don't want to waste time thinking you're making the wrong choice, because in the end, there are no wrong choices. They're only mistakes, which become lessons and blessings, or just blessings. So we want to develop the heart's compass in a way that we can approach those crossroads with confidence in our path, really able to identify what those temptations are. So for example, if you don't do this work, you might approach that path and be easily tempted and go, ooh, la la, I know I said I was going to do this thing, but I really want to give into that old habit right now. I really want to do that drug or drink that drink or go back to this abusive relationship, whatever. But if you do the work, you'll approach that crossroads very differently. And you'll come to that point instead going, I recognize that temptation. I expected it. And I'm not going to fall for it. I know exactly what it is. And I know what's on the other side when I say no to that and yes to a new path, to a new choice. Do you see the difference? When you do that work in attuning your heart's compass, it makes that difference. If you don't do that work, you still got the stuff, and that stuff that is the wall between you and your heart is going to be where you're responding from. Do you want to respond from that old stuff? Because that's old you. That's not the you want to be. But if you do this work to clear that away, you can speak from the heart. You can make choices from the heart, which will bring you to a new place, which is what we want, is new, change, evolution, growth, expansion. We don't want to stay in the same place. It's not why we're here. The only constant in life is change. So either you approach the crossroads making the same choices from the same hurts and pains that you're carrying around, or you do the work to eliminate those things, heal those things, and get back in touch with the truth of your heart so that you can respond and make choices from there, bringing you to ever new heights. Okay. Whew. Oh, it looks like my internet's being... Can you hear me? Okay. So we're going to move on to the ally. Cool. Good to have the confirmation. We're going to move on to the ally of the week. And remember, it's going to be flipped, so if you want to see the actual way the letter looks, it's called the tzadi. It's the Hebrew letter tzadi, so you can spell it T-Z-A-D-D-I. So just type into Google a Hebrew letter tzadi. Okay, and this letter is all about, it's connected to the hermit or the sage in the tarot. And it's all about wisdom, the inner sage, the righteous one within. So, I mean, come on. How are they not connected? You can see the connection directly. Okay, so having that, let's connect the ally to the challenge of the week. If the challenge is getting in touch with our heart's truth, then how could this be our ally, the tzadi? What could it tell us as we go on this journey? What would it say to us, the inner tzadi? By the way, tzaddik in Hebrew means righteous one. So if we tune into the archetype within, what would it say? It would say to us, you've got to do this work because you are on this mission to grow. The tzaddik, or the tzadi, knows that we're on this mission to evolve, that we're on this mission as one, because the true sage knows that we're all in this together. We are one. The true sage, or the tzaddik, knows why we're here, knows of our purpose. So if you find yourself struggling with this challenge of the week, remind yourself, okay, first of all, what are all the decisions we're preparing for? Why do I even do this work? Well, I don't even care. What do these decisions have to do with the spiritual realm? Every single decision that we make affects the whole. Every single decision that we make affects not only us, but the whole. If we want to get somewhere, not only with our own evolutionary process, but if we want to get somewhere as a planet, as a collective society, then we need to do this work. So the letter tzadi would be telling us as an ally throughout the week, reminding us. There goes the connection again. Sorry, you guys. Okay, just moved into the other room just so I could finish this up because I'm not really sure what's going on with my Wi-Fi these days, but anyway. So the tzadi will remind you throughout the week of your purpose, of why you're here, of why you're even doing this work. So when you feel like it's hard work, you feel like you want to give up, you don't understand why you're doing this, remind yourself of what an impact. Let the tzadi remind you of the impact that you have on the whole, on the collective. We all need you to do this. We are all in this together. Okay, so when you feel like you're doubting the process, you're doubting yourself, you feel like things are getting hard, let the tzadi, or the inner tzaddik, the inner righteous one, who has a purpose and has a plan for the one, speak to you so that you can feel a renewed sense of inspiration and motivation to want to do that work, to connect back to your heart, to make right choices, not just for yourself, but for yourself, the one self that we are all a part of. Let that be your inspiration, the collective. If that greater one is not absolutely your inspiration, every time you make a choice, every day, every moment of your life on your path, then you're missing out on something really magical, because it's only when we make that our motivation and it instantly, through your awareness, it instantly connects you to all of life, to the greatest forces of nature and the cosmos, the greatest force of the one creator of which we're all a part. Just through that connection, through our awareness. It's really tough, you guys. Who wants to buy me a new router? Just kidding. Look, it's right here, and I still, for some reason, it doesn't want me to do this, to have this connection. It's very strange. Anyway, just wrapping that thought up, you guys. Just remembering our oneness and bring that back into the forefront of our awareness, it instantly empowers you. It magnifies the work that you're doing. So let that be your inspiration, okay? That's the tzadi. Awesome work to do ahead of us, okay? So final quarter, let's do this work. Let's get back in touch with our heart so that we don't bring any of this old stuff from the past cycle into the new one that's starting next week. Let's enter this new cycle from that space, from that foundation. Thank you guys for being here for this activation. Remember, we have 2 private groups on Facebook. One of them is called the Archetypal Alliance. And that's where we share more about stuff like this and the archetypes, tarot, etc. throughout the week, in between activations. The other one is called Shabbat Crew, Shabbat Crew, Crew. And that's where we share about Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and the current Torah story every week. So if you feel called, join us there. And then I am available for one-on-one readings, so reach out to me, send me a message, or email me at info@royalpathtarot.com, or just go to royalpathtarot.com for the link. I believe all that information is here on my profile. Feel free to share this video with family, friends, or anybody who could use an uplifting message right now. Times is hard, yo, we need that inspiration. So feel free to share this. The recording will also go to Instagram and YouTube, Rebecca Magic, for those of you who want to share this with somebody who's not on Facebook. So follow me on there, YouTube, Rebecca Magic, Instagram, Rebecca Magic, and of course, Royal Path Tarot here on Facebook. And as well, thank you for all the positive feedback on my books. I did a lot of shipments in the past few weeks, and I'm loving hearing what you guys think about it. I'm loving the pictures you're sending me with my books. If anyone on here is watching and wants to know more about the archetypes and how to activate them beyond, way beyond a deck of cards, then my books are for you. So please reach out and ask me. I also have a video course that I can send you via email. There's an hour to an hour and a half long class on each of the major arcanum cards. It is nothing like the book. It's all about the occult symbolism, the actual symbols in the art of the tarot. So if you want that, please reach out and ask me how you can receive it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you. I'm so glad to be doing this work with you at this time on this planet. And I will see you for the new moon activation in 1 week. Shalom.